Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, I'm going to read you a story. I am going to read you one of my own stories I created in college. I have grammar issues within this story, but my professor gave me a 90% because they really enjoyed the story and it felt like they connected to the story. The story will cover some horror aspects. Of course, it is Halloween, so be prepared for the man within the shadows. Created by Austin, aka me. And yeah, let's go down. Have you ever met a creature so powerful and cruel that you were obsessed with it? My name is John Manton. I am 31 years old, married to my wife Carol Shallon. I need to learn how to say that. And we have two loving children, Chris and Violet. Unfortunately, only I was filled with this obscure obsession with the creature. The thoughts of the creature are hooked to the cerebrum of my brain. No one was to escape from him. My loving family cannot see him yet. I can still feel his heat around them on a frigid winter day. When it comes to a story, I do believe you want to know who he is. If you are curious, then I will tell you what happened that night. Just know that he is always watching, and you must believe in my story, as I do not want you to suffer the same fate as I did. That night, at 2 in the morning, the coldest night of the year, it reached about -30 degrees Fahrenheit with -40 degrees wind chill. I was reading a news article in my bed, sharing the comfort with my wife. The article was about a recent fire that burned down a house of three, a mother and two children. The mother's body was found, yet the children were never found in the ashes, and after hours of searching, they are still missing. No names were given out for the victims, and the evidence showed that someone did start the fire, but they were not sure if it was on purpose. I am very overprotective when it comes to my family, and they hate it when I am, but I cannot let anything happen to them. Unlike the family in the fire, I put the newspaper down, and I was about to doze off when I heard the doorbell ring. I froze in place, as we live in the country, with only one neighbor across from us. I never feared him, but we never spoke to him, nor had seen them before. The doorbell rang again, echoing through the hollow house. I got up from my bed, yet my wife was sound asleep, and my children were snoozing along. I walked upstairs into the cold wooden door and asked as my body fell heavily towards the door and wondered, "Who are you?" No response from the deadly freezing weather. My face tightened and I felt my muscles getting heavy as whoever this was waking me up so early in the morning. So I raised my voice beyond the heavens without thinking about my sweet children's sleep. "What do you want?" No response from the door. I felt myself turn hot red like lava in a volcano, as I believe that the neighbors do have children, and they could be pulling a prank on me right now. I gave the shouts of a crazed man, yelling, "What the hell do you want?" No response from the person behind the door. I thought of the children behind the door, enjoying my anger, so I decided to forget about it and go back to my bedroom. However, as I reached the staircase, I heard a piece of paper slide underneath the door. I stomped heavily back to the door with the curse of curiosity. I picked up the paper and saw that it was old and burnt, but felt as it was burnt recently by a bright flame. This piece of paper had an eerie question, which I wish had known what was going to happen next. Have you tucked in your children? The note had written on it. I read the note repeatedly. What does that mean? A few seconds of my unfortunate confusion. I had experienced a parent's worst nightmare. My face turned pale, and I felt as I was about to throw up when I heard my children give a blood-curdling scream from their bedroom. I dropped the note and ran as quickly as I could to their room, with tears flowing down my face and screaming mercy for my children. I finally got to their bedroom and barged in through the door. But I saw no one and felt intense heat all over the room. The room was pitch black, but I noticed that my children were gone from their beds and the window was open. Yet, I did not feel a single cold breeze from outside. As I feared for their lives, I ran to the window and looked out to see if my children were outside. Then that is when I saw him. Lurking in the shadows from the side of our house was a very tall man who was carrying children by their legs as if he was carrying a sack. He was wearing a dirty dark suit with a worn bowler hat on top of his head, which had seemed to have no hair. His skin was pale like a ghost, and it seemed to be decaying as if he was dead already. He had an intoxicating stench of blood and rotten meat coming from his aroma. This made me turn green and nauseous. Seeing my children being with this creature scared me the most. I decided to go outside and confront this demon. However, I was about to leave the sight of him. I was pushed by a formidable force of the window into a drop that was supposed to be 20 to 25 feet, felt like a 1,250 foot drop. I could not move, and all I saw went falling to my death as the demon, looking back towards me with yellow beady eyes, and calmly whispered. It sounded as if he was near my ear. Do you think this is still a nightmare, child? I was able to move last second, before I saw the ground with my life flashing before my eyes, with the heat filling my lungs. Then suddenly, I woke up. On the floor of my children's bedroom, with the window closed, I looked outside and saw no one was there, nor was there any footprints. I was confused, was scared, but the fears disappeared, and tears rolled down my face as I noticed my children were peacefully sleeping in their beds, with a smile on their faces. I was happy that it was all a nightmare, but who was that creature, and what did he mean? Do you still think this is a nightmare? You even call me a child. What does that mean? What does he mean by that? However, I heard next, maybe lose the color of my face. It means that you are in my possession, and all of you will never escape me, as I will always be with you and your family, child. I heard the deep, echoing voices from the darkness of my closet of the children. I tried to wake up my children and warn them about the creature, but then my mind was filled with darkness. I was brought to a dark place. It was very cold compared to the creature's foul heat. I wanted to move. I wanted to scream, but I could not do anything, nor knew where I was. Then I was back in my room, with my sight opening, but I could not move. Right by the closet door, as if he did something to me. All I could do was watch the closed door open slowly, the noise of an eerie creak every second. The closet opened fully, and all I could see was pitch darkness. However, I then saw a silhouette of a figure coming out of the closet with his long arms and razor-sharp claws from his decaying hand coming out of the closet as he got out and walked slowly towards me, watching me suffer. I wanted to look away. I wanted to scream for my children. I wanted to leave and get help, but he would not let that happen. He then stretched his arms towards me, picked me up, and brought me to his face, where I stared him eye to eye as he was smiling with a big yellow grin. "Do you believe that you can survive me, child?" he said as he opened his mouth wide, out of proportion, and then I woke up and looked around me. It was 8:30 in the morning on our alarm clock. I saw I was in bed with my wife, sleeping beside me. But what if this wasn't real? What if I'm still a part of his cruel world? So I decided to run up the stairs and check on my children. They were sleeping heavily. They did not seem to be spooked at all. I was happy and was not afraid for once. I decided to make my family's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip French toast sticks. But before I could start, Chris woke up and told me that he saw a man outside in our yard who was in front of the fire last night. I was shocked to hear that, but I was curious if it was just a nightmare or not. I went outside where Chris directed me to the spot, but no ashes nor remnants of fire were found on the spot. All I saw that his face was pale and he constantly shaking. To make him feel better, I told him it was all a nightmare, and he shouldn't forget about it. Ironically, I kept remembering my nightmare, even when I told him to forget. However, I feel as if he is still watching me, taunting me, getting ready to attack. Today, on January 12th, 2012, a few years has passed since those nightmares. He has not terrorized me ever since. Since that night, I have been curious about this creature. All I could think about was learning how to kill the creature, even if I die from it. Throughout the years, I created a weapon, a holy blade blessed by an uncorrupted priest that will banish the creature back to where it came from. After a quiet year, I left the dagger in the garage since the creature never came back. However, my decisions became my final regrets as I hear the whispers of madness from the familiar devilish voice. "Do you think you can kill me?" The voice quietly echoing in my ear after years of silence. "If you think you can kill me, you are dead wrong, child. Your torment is my satisfaction. However, your children are the ones you would do anything for. It would be deeply satisfying if I would let them suffer while you watch from above, unable to do anything." "What do you mean, from up above? And I will not let you harm my family anymore," I screamed wildly, ready to fight the hellish creature after all these years. "Hmm, do you trust your children that well?" He chuckled as his mouth stretched out of proportion. Confusion floated in my head as a disturbing question came from my head as I slowly inhaled the thick smoke coming from my outside of my room. Big erupting flames were outside my bedroom door. "There's a fire! I must get out of here." As I ran towards the door, my body dropped heavily in front of the door as if I were hit with 500-pound weights that followed me as I fell. And the creature told me the last heartbreaking words I would hear. "Your son, Chris, started the fire and is using that fire to painfully kill you and your wife. I have been controlling him and seeing him ever since that night. He has brought Violet out of the house, so do not worry about her yet. Your children are mine now, and I'll make them suffer as much as you did. And you will remember one thing that will rip the fibers of your soul." He kneeled down as he grabbed my throat tight, leaving burning prints. "Your family will die by the hands of the man within the shadows." Alright. Oh god. Advertisement. My bad. So yeah, let me tell you guys something. I felt like there was something that was missing from the story. I think there is two revisions of this story, and I must have removed something from it because I felt like there was something that my professor liked a lot about the story, but I guess I must have forgot to take it out. And there are something, as I mentioned, grammar, and I definitely would like to change the story and the pacing a bit because it does get a little bit cluttered here and there. But so far for a story, I think it does very well. I mean, I have done other stories based around this topic, but yeah, I if I were to like come back to this story and like rewrite it, I think it would be better. Um, yeah, I think it would be way better for me because I think this story, it was like one of my first stories ever made. It was supposed to be a short story, and I think it does its job well for what it does, but I feel like there was like a lot of things that I would love to like revision and change and maybe just slightly improve upon because I feel like the story is really good. Well, not really good. I feel like it's okay. It's just if I had like way more improvement and fix of the grammar and everything, I think it would be a good story. But yeah, that is it, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. My name's AusTkiller, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!